Howdy, howdy. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited about tonight's show. And I've got so many things going on, I don't even know what to check first. Um, Holy moly. Uh, Hi. Happy Sunday. Happy Fun Day Sunday. That's what I've entitled this show. Um, I've got so much to share with you guys, but first, because I'm so super excited. But the first thing is thank you for all your well wishes. I don't think I got a concussion last week or this past week. I was really doing something really stupid that I should not have done. I am trying to get my grandson in shape because he just got his orange belt in karate and he needs his upper body strength, and I need to get in shape. So we go to the park and we do the obstacle course, and I thought for a minute I was super young and that I could do what I used to do. I found out the hard way that I could not. Yeah, so I didn't know if I had gotten a concussion or if I was just talking weird and being lightheaded for some other reason. But nevertheless, I'm fine, and thank you for your well wishes. Let's see, I am super duper excited. I know every week I get on this show and I start going, oh, you wouldn't believe my day. And I can't believe this show was going to come off. I was going to pull this. Well, today, I may not be able to, but I am so super excited about the future of this show. I finally got the vision. And I finally been doing this long enough to know what's keeping me from the vision, what's going to propel me into the vision, and what's going to make a better show. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to explain it all to you because you all are involved in this. I'm going to explain it all to you in a good news, bad news sort of way. All right, I'll start with the bad news. The bad news is all these technical problems that I've been having. I don't know if you, last week I had a video where that wasn't really okay. So I have this staticky sound that I keep mentioning on my show. And yes, the guy who's been helping me out he's a technical guy, and he said that it's my computer. It's my motherboard in my Mac. I have a Mac. All right, so what's happening is my motherboard is dying, all right? It's like me at the park trying to do something that it can't do. All right, this motherboard, I'm challenging it to do this live streaming and stuff, and it just is like, I can't be part of all this. So that's why you're getting this staticky sound. And hopefully, and what I'm going to do tonight is do a show that's been a lot pre-recorded, so you don't have to get too much of that staticky sound, but there's nothing I can do about it right now. So anyway, so that's coming from my computer, and it cannot be fixed. Okay, so this is all the bad news stuff. And then the other news is I know you guys are writing in the comment section, what's wrong with you? Can't you see it? We're telling you that that your sound doesn't work. Well, my producer and I went on the comment section and discovered Facebook filters out stuff. Now I should have them. It doesn't matter how I ask them to print out, even if it's real time or it's most relevant or any of that stuff. It's not printing out all of them. So honestly, I'm not an ignoramus. Well, I sort of am, but I'm not seeing all of your comments. So when you guys are yelling at me and going, "Can't you hear? We can't hear." No, I can't. All right. So that's the bad news. The really good news is, last week, if you can remember back to last week, I was interviewing a wonderful man named Ron Edwards. He's a radio guy, and we talked a lot about being Black conservatives and how he got there and all that stuff. And we talked about reparations. I had a lead into reparations. Well, none of that interview went well. I thought, and I kept saying this on the air, I'm thinking maybe you guys can hear it okay, because once again, I'm not hearing it. I'm not seeing it in the chat room. So I figured it's just me and it's not you guys. So I took my chances, and I shouldn't have done that. I'm learning. Shouldn't have done that, because his entire interview was inaudible. Couldn't hear it. And I thought I could transcribe it, but I couldn't even understand it. So the really good news is he's coming on next week. I just pre-taped an interview with him on a different subject altogether, and it went fantastic. I have to say that You know, one of the things that I say, and I teach, you know, I help people, I coach people in writing. And I know they get real frustrated when they may have something that they've written and it's gone. They think they've lost it, or maybe they have in fact lost it. And I always say, as many times as I've done that, the second draft of what I'm doing is always better than what I thought I was doing. And it's almost like God is going, that's not the one. You're going to have to do something else, and it just disappears. So my Ron Edwards interview is going to be re-aired next week. And you can watch it anytime you want, because I know it's the 4th of July holiday. You can watch it whenever you want, but I think you're going to be very happy with it. And I thank you guys for sharing last week's, even though it was really crappy. I totally appreciate you. So yeah, so the redo is next week. Okay, so like I said, the bad news is my computer, like me, is too old for what I'm trying to do. I should not be jumping off of railroad ties, and this computer should not be trying to do live streaming. So the good news is, as he told me, practically all new model PCs do what I'm trying to do, which is air to you live streaming, doing all this clicking back and forth. I can have better sound, the whole bit, a lot cheaper. You can't fix the motherboard on a Mac, but I can buy a whole new system and have a whole new studio that's going to sound and look professional and all that for not so crazy of a price. So I'm going to have I've picked out everything so far. It's funny because I'm not a girl who loves to go like clothes shopping. You can take me to the mall and I'm not happy. I'm not. You can take me to a jewelry store. I could care less. You take me to a hardware store or or a place to buy electronics, I'm your girl. So I've picked out everything. I've got an audio mixer, I've got a new mic, I've got lights so that I'm not dragging lights upstairs every time I come to do the show. A friend of mine who's not only a musician, but he's an electrician and a contractor came over today. We talked about everything that I want to do and how I need it logistically for the show so that I can do what I'm doing and do it with excellence. And I am super excited about that. And that's the good news. The bad news is I ain't got no money. But that's okay. Because the good news is I have an extreme amount of faith and a little bit of knowledge about how to do things on the intranet. So I opened up what's called a Patreon account, and this is where you guys come in, if you would be so kind. And really, it's just, I'm just asking. You can see the word Patreon there on the bottom. It's patreon.com, and it's just a place where you can subscribe. You can have a membership to my show, and for $5 a month, if you subscribe, I can get all this crap that I need so that I can upgrade my studio. I can have a real studio. My sound will sound better. I can start to invite different guests on the show, because right now all I'm concentrating on is the technical aspect of this, and it's virtually impossible to be creative and also worry about, golly gee, can everybody hear what I'm doing? Is the static happening? What's going on the show? So the few comments that I do see in the page is pretty funny. So I am depending on the kindness of Facebook buddies and hoping that you will log on Patreon. And if you could do that even while you're here online, and let me know that you can find it, because I just opened it a couple of hours ago, and hopefully you can join on my page and see if it at least looks like it's okay, whether you do it or not. And then probably in the next couple days I'll have a simple donate button on my Left It website. So if you want to donate just a sum of money, so you don't have to do a membership, you can do that too. So I just want to throw that out there. But nevertheless, I'm believing that this new studio is going to happen, so I don't have to have any more embarrassments, and I don't have to worry about technical and creative, because I'm not, I can do it, but I can't do it with faulty equipment. So I really do want to upgrade, because I do have the vision. So I'm going to keep tonight's show really short, because I'm afraid of the staticky sound or anything else you guys may encounter. So a couple of these pieces that I've done I actually didn't do them for tonight's show. I did them as standalone pieces. You know how I do the comedy things. but because I'm worried about the sound, I'm going to air them within tonight's show. And just so you know, I'll also air them separately tomorrow. So if you want to share them with your friends, they'll be standalone pieces. So they both go along with the theme of Fun Day Sunday because they're both kind of fun and silly. But this first one has to do with Black holiday. You know what? In America, we have holidays. We really shouldn't be having black holidays and white holidays. It's just like we have, the black graduations and, No, I can't. I'm not going to do Ian just said that I should broadcast from my page, and I took that under advisement. Ian McDonald's been such a help to me as I go through this process. And I have created a page now. So I really do need everyone to go over to my Sonia Schmidt Show page and like that page, because as soon as I get my new studio hooked up, which I'm believing is next week, again, I have the faith of much more than a mustard seed. So by next week, I will be airing it on that page. However, tonight I'm going through too much with the technical and all this other stuff to chance it. So right now it is on this page, just in case there's any screw ups. I don't want to taint my new page. So anyway, we just had a holiday pass for Black people. Somehow we've been told that our holidays don't match up with American holidays, and somehow we've bought into this. So we just finished Juneteenth. We just finished that, and that's something I'll be talking about on this video, and that's the day that the slaves were freed. So I know many people will not celebrate July the 4th because it's not our holiday. Another holiday is Christmas that tends to be tainted for Black people. We're told that we're not celebrating the proper Jesus. Jesus is Black. Jesus is this. Jesus is not the proper day. My feeling is whenever somebody brings something negative into something that should be so beautiful and so joyous, then they're on the wrong track. And if they're throwing salt in the game, if they're changing it by saying, well, what color is Jesus? I'm thinking I'm not supposed to be celebrating what you're talking about. I don't celebrate Kwanzaa. Talk about made up holidays. I got a daughter who's Jewish, and she tries to get in she tries to get in Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, and Christmas. So the whole month we're just giving her gifts, and I got her game. I figured that out after a while. So this video that I produced, and it is called We the Black People, and it talks about our holidays. This is just a little fun thing that I put together, and I'll just join you on the other side. So hopefully, here we go. Okay, I'm not sure why that didn't start from the beginning. I'm going to try it again. That's weird because I did the test. See, this is the kind of crap I can't have happening when I am doing the show. I should not have to worry about this stuff. Yeah, somehow it knocked off since my last rehearsal, which was just before the show. So I'm going to air this as a standalone piece tomorrow. So sorry. It was really good. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I am going to play a piece for you, if this works, from a group called the Patriotic Singles. Let's just hope this works. And who they are is a group of patriotic singles. They're conservative singles that got together the 2 nights of the debate, the Democrat debate. And I had this great idea of interviewing them afterwards to get their feedback, but we had a little mix up with, once again, technical stuff with Skype. But I caught 3 of them who were still there. One is the leader of the group. So let's just fingers crossed, Please let this work.
Say goodbye.
Bye.
There's a guy. He's
Hi,
going
guy.
I'm a Democrat.
Are you really? Oh, can you stay and talk, please,
He's
sir?
a liar.
You're a liar and a Democrat, so that makes sense for a Democrat. I'm just joking. I love Democrats. Some of my favorite enemies are Democrats.
Are they?
What's
My
your
relatives. My relatives. Are you kidding? I'm black. I'm from LA. Everybody I know is a Democrat.
No. I have to clear the water. I always use this term. I'm to the right of Mark Levin.
Wow. I like
To
you
be
already.
I don't think it's cute.
If you're on the right of Mark Levin, I already have a crush on you. So.
All right. Well,
I'm sorry.
he's got a hat.
Here's my.
He's got a hat.
He lives in Northbridge. He's close to you.
Really?
He's
I
on.
outpoll all my friends that are conservative. That we always have them.
Before
Americans.
Before you get, I'm recording you, by the way. So you have to say if you're okay with me airing you. I have a. If Catherine didn't tell you, I have a Facebook Live show.
I get a copy of that.
So are you okay with me airing what you've said so far?
All right, so far.
And what you may say in the future? Yes or no?
Yes. Yeah.
I wish it's photobombing my good friend here. I didn't.
What about you, sir? What's your name in the back?
John.
John, are you okay with being on the air?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, good. How was the party tonight? Obviously, I missed something fun. I was watching my grandson.
It was fabulous.
Really?
These are the strays. These are the strays.
Hi, Catherine.
She's the organizer.
My boy's here.
They could have lied and said that it was nothing and I didn't miss anything great, but no, they had to rub my nose in it, so that's all
We
right.
to go home, and we told Ariana to go home, and then we decided to get on the Skype thing. So yeah.
Okay, so I didn't even really prepare any questions because I didn't think that this was going to happen. But tell me what you thought were the. First of all, was there anybody on last night or tonight that you thought might be a real challenge to Donald Trump?
Gabby,
And why?
the one with the streak in her house, she seemed normal.
Oh, that's a big plus for a Democrat, right?
Yeah, she didn't seem like she was retarded in a clinical way.
That's hysterical. How about you, John?
Yes.
Who would be a real challenge for Trump at this point?
Well, what? Oh boy, I was just posed this question earlier. If the gentleman from Starbucks, that former CEO,
Bezos is whatever his name is.
no, I think it's Schwartz.
Oh, yeah. I don't know these people. I don't keep up with the news. I'm counting on you people to tell me what's going on. Stalwart or whatever. I don't know.
He would be, but he's not on the 20 platform team or 30. How many Democrats
They're so inconsequential. We don't know anything about them. That's so sad.
Honestly, I have no. I'm going to say the establishment, probably Joe Biden, because he has so much corrupt support. He's been.
That's interesting.
So I hate to say it.
He gets at least 9 people at his rallies.
Get in the camera. Say. That's true. Catherine, who do you think?
That statement tonight was Marianne Williams who said, "I'm going to harness love and love will win."
Kumbaya.
Oh, you know what? It's like cringe. It was cringeworthy when she did the girlfriend thing. That was so reminiscent of Hillary with the hot sauce in her purse and going, "I ain't no waves tied." I'm just like, oh, why do they have to do that?
That's getting really tender.
I'm in no way tired. Right.
And Andrew Yang, when they asked him about the $1,000 and it stumped him like he never heard it before, and he went, "What?"
What? So, okay, speaking of pandering, when this was last night, not tonight, but when they all broke out in their best Spanglish, what did y'all think of that?
Awful.
You don't want to know my.
Beto, please.
I do want to know. Because it made me cringe. Say that again.
I believe that was very bad.
What made America great was people coming in from other countries that were somewhat civilized to create a beautiful nation called America. And they left their languages at home, their way of life, their values, and we all invested in 200 plus years of making this beautiful nation what it is now. And now we have a large body of land that just doesn't want to assimilate. And for the Democrat Party to know that is the bulk of their future votes is really saddening, honestly. So, and they have to, I mean, last I checked, we spoke English here.
From your mouth to God's ears.
Right here.
Right
Well,
here.
except for him.
But you heard the cheers. You heard the cheers that went up when they did that. So it may be working. I mean, I heard cheers at things when they talk about killing babies and when they talk about, you know, the immigrants coming in, no borders, and drugs, and what is going on in America that gets cheers? And are you concerned about that?
I'm concerned about who's coming over our borders. ISIS and people that are not our friends are coming over along with everybody else. I mean, you can't be that stupid to think they're not infiltrating and what's going to happen in our future. I mean, I really think that these people coming over the border are going to be part of the revolution, and they've got their army coming over every day. They have no alliance to America. Okay? This is their future army, and I that's how I see it.
It is. So who do you think, and I'm losing my other friend back there in the camera, but who do you think should just pack up the meager amount of campaign funds that they've managed to capture at this point and just go home?
Marianne Williams. Yeah. I mean, come on, let's face it.
Bless her heart.
I know who she is because she's a book writer, spiritual.
Yeah, I've read her books. Yeah.
Many years ago, but I don't know why she's running for president. And
Robert Francis O'Rourke.
Oh yeah, O'Rourke. That was sad. It was it was sad. All right, so when's the next debate? Do you know?
They just posted that 10 more on Fox.
10 more? Will you read it?
We'll probably see some more coming up. But we'll have another party then, and we'll do a wrap-up then.
Okay, Catherine, tell me about your group and what kind of parties you give and why this is happening in the first place.
I started this group, Patriotic Singles, through Meetup about 10 years ago.
Awesome.
Because it's really hard.
We've had some marriages.
I heard, and I'm so upset that I can't come because I watch my grandson during the week. So you guys have to have some weekend things. How often do you meet up? What kind of things do you do?
Well, every year we do the red, white, and blue barbecue.
Halloween.
That's coming up. Halloween party, Christmas party. Summer parties. We've had pool parties. We like to have parties, and I hosted every single debate last time. 19 debates. Okay. It's fun to watch it with your friends.
I'm gonna say something.
What?
She's being very, very humble. Catherine is a headhunter. She'll go to all the major political rallies here in California. Seek out non-married, assuming by no wedding rings, and she will approach them cold turkey and say, "Hi, you're an attractive person here at a Republican rally. Would you like to join a meetup group and meet other patriotic singles?" And she says, "Who does that nowadays?"
Well, she's never asked me, so I'm very offended at this point. I'm triggered. All right. Thank you guys for the interview, and thank you for going on the air. I will probably air this on Sunday. That's when my show is Sundays at 7 o'clock, Facebook Live. Please like my page, The Sonia Schmidt Show. It's on Facebook. Just like it, and hopefully you'll get notifications when I re-air the shows, and join me in the chat room.
We will. I'm sorry everybody left. They had other things they were doing.
This is fine. This is so cute. I love it.
We fed them so much they were tired. They had to go.
I can imagine, but the framing is really good. I love it. It's going to work. Everything always works out. God always works everything out, so I'm good. Have a great night. Drive safely.
All right.
All right. See you live soon. Bye. All right. Okay. So that at least played. I'm so sorry the other video didn't play because I worked really hard, but I hope you enjoyed that video of the Patriotic Singles. They were gracious enough to let me come into their party, their after party, and let me interview you. And I'm going to post it, like I said, again tomorrow, so you can watch it again if you have a moment, because if for nothing else, you got to watch Gabriel's face. He is priceless. He's priceless. I'm going to take a breather for a second. I'm really very disappointed that the other video didn't play. However, these are the sorts of technical problems that you can help me with just by being a Patreon to my show. And again, if you can go on Patreon, type in the Sonia Schmidt Show, make sure it comes up for me. You can sign on as a member and donate a buck a week. I think $5 a week or a month or something like that is the minimum. It's very minimal. But it would help me out so much to start to pull these pieces together, and if necessary, hire a person or producer who can sit here and do all this fancy stuff so I can just sit here and be fabulous. So what else do I want to also, I wanted to thank you all for sharing the show. At the end of the show, just like last week, you are a part of the credits. If you are a Patreon member, and you do a membership, you will get a co-producer or an executive producer credit, which is, I mean, it means nothing, but it means something to me. It's just my special way of thanking you, and hopefully you'll appreciate being on the credits. So it's just a fun way of saying thank you. So my next guest, I'm going to get him on the phone. This is going to be an audio interview because, again, I am so afraid of things not working that if this doesn't work, then you can just go ahead and sign off and cuss me out and send some money so I can get together a real studio. But you guys heard him before on my first week of doing this show. My first week of doing this show, I just got online and I started chatting with you guys. And then it sort of turned into this, that now I'm doing a show opening and bits and interviews and the whole bit. And I hope, and my vision is to do even more and to have it even more slick. And so it looks good. It looks like it's a home base, but it looks like a show. That's my vision. My vision, of course, is to spread my audience. And thank you guys for sharing, hosting watch parties. That really, really does help, because I got bumped off of Facebook today because I shared my announcement, just that little thing that says join me live. Just because I did that, it bounced me off. It said I can't post anymore until tomorrow morning. So I've got my limitations, but if you guys can, pick up the mantle, that would be so appreciated. Okay, so I'm going to call my next guest who you saw on my first show. And he was doing something. He was having a little trouble getting a comedy show together. He was having his challenges with that, and he told you guys all about it. So now he's got an update.
Hello there.
Hi there. I'm sorry to keep you waiting, but I got long-winded, and then one of my videos didn't play, and that's okay because it would have put us too long anyhow. So you guys can't see him. This is going to be an audio. That's how Al Sharpton says it, audio. But this is Scott Mcaffe. I don't know if you remember my friend from the first week of doing the show. He was trying to put together a comedy show. He was having some resistance, but now it looks like smooth sailing. So hello, Scott. How are you?
Good. How you doing tonight?
Well, I'm actually very excited because I was telling the audience that I'm getting ready to put together a whole new studio. So everything is going to work. I'm going to have a sound mixer so I don't sound like, I'm going to sound like Barry White when this stuff is all said and done, okay? It's
nice.
Yeah, I'm acousticizing the room. I have a new mic. Everything's going to be brand new. I picked out everything, and I'm believing that the finances are going to pull through, and I'm going to be able to do this by next week, no less.
Nice, awesome.
And I take my cue from you, who believed this show was going to happen, and look at you.
Well, yeah, and obviously we haven't done it yet, but I'm pretty pumped. I mean, and I guess it was sort of based on the premise: is there a need for right-leaning comedy? Is there an audience for it? And every time I watch a Trump rally, and that's basically what Trump does, is kind of stand up, right? I mean, he tells a lot of jokes and makes people laugh, and there's definitely an entertainment factor there. I think, well, this kind of is my audience. These are the people that I would love to perform in front of. So, we kind of threw it out there, just, I think mainly as an experiment, just to see, like, what, is there a need for it? Is there an audience for this? And I think mainly because I wasn't seeing a lot of other people doing it. So
And that's your reason for thinking that there may not be, because I can't understand why. Comedy is comedy. If it's funny, it's funny. I mean, I can even laugh at some left wing stuff. If it's funny, it's funny. Why do you think that we even have that hesitation, thinking, well, I don't know if there's an audience for it?
Well, I think we've done such a lousy job of making conservatism and whatever right-leaning political thought funny. I mean, Trump is definitely an anomaly for the most part. The people that broadcast conservative ideas, and God bless all of them. I mean, Rush and Dennis Prager and Ben Shapiro and all those people, but none of them are comedians. None of them. And it just seems like, the realm of comedy has been something that the left has sort of taken charge of. I mean, I estimate that 99% of comedy out there, certainly in late night TV, it's exclusively leftist, and it's really lost, I think, any sense of being funny anymore. It's mainly just a lot angry, and a lot of harsh name calling. But the point is that we haven't really done a great job. I mean, you can count the amount of conservative comedians, at least that I'm aware of, probably on one hand, and still have a couple fingers left. I mean, there's just not a lot. And even though I feel that humor is probably one of the most powerful political weapons of all, powerful cultural weapons of all.
Totally is. And you probably, there's probably a lot more conservative comedians out there than you know of. They just won't do conservative comedy because they don't want to get busted.
Right. Which is kind of also funny in and of itself, because I feel like we're the new persecuted minority. Right, and we're like the 21st century lepers out there. We can't speak on college campuses because people will throw rocks at us. We get shoot out of restaurants. People lose work. People lose jobs. I mean, you and I both know people that have lost jobs just based on the way they vote on issues.
I am people.
You are one, exactly.
I am one of them.
I don't know how much you want to reveal or not, But
I talk about it all the time on the show because that's what my book is about. You can find it at lefted.net. It's all about my adventures in Hollywood and why I left the left. Let me ask you this: you had some censorship, I have an interview that's in the can that I have been advised not to air because it's about Sharia law. There's an author I interviewed and she talks about Sharia law, and I've been told, don't do it. So you had your own form of censorship when you tried to first come out with this show. What did you experience, just to refresh my audience?
Yeah, well, the funny thing is that, my first experience was we actually videotaped me doing a radio show, because I do, radio on the weekends on AM 590 and AM 870 in Los Angeles. And one time I have a friend who's on the left. This guy is like as far left as you can possibly go. I mean, he's a socialist. He's an atheist. He believes in everything that's like the opposite of what I believe in. But he loves to comment. He loves to debate issues. So I said, hey, tell you what, let's do this on the air. I'll have you on the radio. And he's like, you're just going to set me up. I'm like, no, it'll be totally cool. It'll be very respectful. I said, look, there's only two rules. You can't swear, and I won't yell, and it'll be just fine. And I said, well, make it real simple. You pick any topic you want, and I'll pick any topic I want. He picked, like, the Rush investigation, and I picked, like, the minimum wage, going up to $15 an hour, which I think is going to, like, destroy the California economy. But it was very good, so we videotaped it. And we put it up on Google. It was on private Google files, and I went to retrieve it, and it's gone. And I asked my son, I go, what happened to these files? He goes, oh, your files got deleted. I go, for what? He goes, well, it was listed as hate speech. And I'm like, me talking about the minimum wage with a guy on the left is considered hate speech? So, like, they just got totally, like, gone, just, like, destroyed. So that was certainly one of the experiences that I've had. In addition to that, though, we've tried doing speaking events before. We had a venue all lined up in Santa Ana. We already had a deposit on it. Interestingly enough, the owners of the venue were conservatives. And, we were going to have a host of conservative speakers. So right before we were supposed to do this, they called us up and said, hey, we have to cancel you. And we're like, why do you have to cancel us? Well, we're getting so many threats and bad, social media posts and that kind of stuff, hate messages, to our staff, that we can't take the risk. And we're just like, wow. I mean, fortunately, we were able to find, another venue, but it gives you a feel for the atmosphere out there, which is obviously highly charged. And it blows my mind that, we can't even speak that that the hate speech patrol is in full gear looking for us. You know what I mean?
It's so frightening. Now, I met you. I always call people like you and people like me to a certain extent. We're doer bees. We're not just worker bees, but you have a vision, just like I have a vision. I've been talking about this tonight about where I want to take this show. You had a vision when I first met you about providing a platform very much like a YouTube or a Netflix or whatever. And that didn't happen. That's not to say it's not, but in the interim, you were the first person who I heard talk about doing something like this. And I was very encouraged. And of course I signed on and was like, how can I help? And, but since then, I have to tell you, there's a lot more people that have this idea. They're very close. They're doing it. What kind of heads up can you give them about the process? What sort of things held you back, and what kind of things can they look for to bypass any problems that you had? Just some helpful advice.
Sure. I think the talent is there. I think the creativity is there. One of the biggest challenges that they will face, that any of us will face, is on the tech side, meaning that conservatives are dropping like flies on traditional social media, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, you name it, Reddit. I mean, all of the traditional platforms where somebody could conceivably stick a network are being silenced and shut down. So the challenge is a technical one as much as anything else. So in other words, you have to kind of out Google and out YouTube. You need your own platform that can operate independent of all of those things.
Right.
And they have such a stranglehold on things, and you're aware of Steven Crowder being recently demonetized. A guy who's got like 4 going on 5 million subscribers.
More than CNN, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm. What's that?
More than CNN, that's for dang sure.
Well, yeah. And even the extreme example of the #1 guy on YouTube named PewDiePie, who has over 90 million subscribers. And he built his audience largely by reviewing video games. He's a young guy and he plays video games.
I know who he is.
He's kind of quirky.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden he starts coming up with political content, and it was obvious that it was right-leaning. So Disney pulls his contract with him. YouTube pulls their contract with him. He's been demonetized on YouTube, and yet he is, at least the last time I checked, the #1 draw on YouTube. So I'm looking at somebody like him and thinking, why the hell doesn't somebody monetize this guy who has a bigger audience than Fox News by himself?
Mm-hmm.
A worldwide audience,
mm-hmm.
and yet nobody wants to touch him. Why? Because he's conservative. And companies, I think, sponsors, that they feel that it's safer to back somebody like Colin Kaepernick, in the case of Nike, or Gillette running stupid razor ads bashing toxic masculinity. That they feel that's a safer bet than financing somebody like this guy. So it's interesting times. I mean, for me, I'm not giving up on it by any means, and I'm almost glad that we didn't pull it off the way we thought we were going to, because there's no way it would have survived. There's no way you're going to live stream this on Apple, or how are you going to get an app on an app store when they own all the app stores? Okay,
that makes a lot of sense. Now getting back to the comedy thing, there was an article I just saw today in the Hollywood Reporter that because of Trump, right-leaning comedy is on the upswing. And you have sold out your early show, and you're about to sell out your second show. Are you going to do more of these?
Well, see, here's the thing. I mean, this is new territory for me. So I think what we're using this as an experiment. #1, is there an audience for it? And we're really close to selling out the second show. I think that's going to happen here in the next couple of days at the rate we're on. We kind of had targets and goals, like, okay, if we sell X amount of seats, per day, we're going to fill this thing up. So I think the goal was just to look, is there an audience for this? The second thing is to kind of nail down the format, if you will. So I've been to comedy clubs, as you have. I've seen how they do it. You got to have an MC. You've got to have, everything that makes it look professional. So the music and, special things for VIPs. If somebody wants to pay a little extra for VIP, they get a little extra special treatment. Gotcha. They get some cool things, that sort of thing. So we wanted to make it as professional as possible and really lay the foundation of how do you do this thing? And ultimately, how do you do it and not lose money? Because, these are professional comedians in some cases, and they're not going to work for free. They need to be compensated, but you also have to be mindful of all the expenses that go along with doing something like this. I mean, you have the vendors. In some cases, you may need security.
I was going to ask you about that. Have you had to face that issue of having to have extra security because of all the haters and the violent haters we have to face?
Yeah, no kidding. Well, I mean, we had, there were thoughts about, who are you going to invite? And there are people that, you know of and I know of that, people like Gavin McInnes, people like Owen Benjamin, who are right-leaning comedians, and these guys have been just about wiped off the planet. I mean, their social media is completely gone. They're nowhere to be found on any of the traditional platforms. They can't even, in some cases, they can't even, process credit cards. I mean, they're losing their way of monetizing. They're basically getting destroyed personally. And, the problem is, if you want to have somebody like that do a show, what are they going to do? Send out 1,000 people to come protest? I mean, these are the thoughts that go through my head. So I think we're trying to, we're staying under the radar for now. And I don't think we'll have any problems, but we'll see, and part of this is you have to be ready for anything, including who the hell knows what. I mean, I don't know. Bad press or protesters or whack jobs or whatever.
Count on that. Well, I have to tell you, I feel kind of like the jilted girlfriend. You asked me to to host or MC or something, and I said, I'm not ready. I haven't done comedy in a long time. I haven't written comedy. I don't even feel funny. And then you went and got Adam Yensler, who I think is fantastic. I feel like the girl who broke up with a guy and then he went and got the hotter girlfriend. So tell people if you can tell them who Adam is and...
Yes. Well, I saw Adam for the first time I saw you, which was at Politicon, and I first saw the title. It's going to be a panel of conservative comedians. I'm like, oh, cool. I want to find out who are these people that dare to label themselves conservative comedians, and they're still working, hopefully. So, it was you, and it was Evan Sayet, and Adam, and a couple others. And and I did get a chance to listen to Adam do stand-up, and my son has gotten to be a friend of his since that point. But Adam's an interesting case because, he's outwardly conservative, and he is a writer for The Ellen Show. He's actually an Emmy Award-winning comedian, and he's pretty damn good. And the funny thing that I scratched my head, and I'm like, how is this guy outwardly conservative and still working? In LA, especially for The Ellen Show, no less. Mm-hmm. And I talked to him not that long ago, and I go, hey, you're kind of an anomaly because again, you're outwardly conservative and you're still employed. And I said, props to Ellen for knowing you're a conservative and still hiring you. And he said, I'm not really sure Ellen knows. And I'm thinking, oh my God.
There's truth to that because in Hollywood, they just assume everyone is. Liberalism is. So it never dawns on them that somebody can have a different point of view until you just come out and then they still won't believe it. I had a boss who said, no, I think you're libertarian. I'm like, look, whatever makes you sleep well at night. It's just whatever. And I have to tell you, Adam's humor is something that I really do have to study before I get back out there and try this again, because he's really smart and he's really good at framing a joke where you have to go, I think this guy might be conservative. He's not coming right out and doing kind of the sort of mean-spirited jokes I did when I was on the road, because I was venting basically, because I had just gotten out of Hollywood and I was doing Michelle Obama jokes and being a black conservative jokes. But Adam is fresh. He's just like wonderful, and I could see how it would go completely over their heads who he is.
Yeah, no, you're right. But I will say this: it's a challenge. As you said earlier, it's a challenge, number one, even finding conservative comedians. They are out there, but they're kind of keeping it on the down low.
Sure.
So it's a challenge, number one, to even find them. A lot of them don't want to even go into the political realm, and for good reason. They want to
They want to eat. Right. They got to eat.
They want to eat, exactly. So it's hard to find them. And just even looking at lots and lots of comedians, even ones that are self-proclaimed conservatives, some of them are just terrible. I mean, that's
true. Just because they're conservative don't mean they're good.
No, they're awful, some of them, and some of them are profane. And, it's kind of like, and this is an issue that I know. I mean, some comedians, it seems like it's more the norm than the exception, where people just got to drop F-bomb after F-bomb. And I get it. I guess this is part of the way things are, but I really still, maybe I'm old-fashioned like you, maybe, I don't know, but I still appreciate somebody, if they can do it without going there, I think better. I don't know what your take is on that, but that's kind of my take.
I like smart. I mean, I think you have to be unique with it. I will listen to one of the things I loved about Richard Pryor, who's not obviously a conservative, but he certainly knew how to cuss. He did it in such a way that it was so genuine and it was so real that it didn't bother me. Then every black comedian who came after him tried to be Richard Pryor, and they were just dropping the F-bomb in places where it need not be, and it wasn't clever and the whole bit. So clever, smart, good joke writing. And I was a joke writer for the Arsenio Hall show, and I used joke writing throughout all my scripts for the 22 years in Hollywood. So I know how to craft a joke. I knew that when I was with Evan Say It's Right to Laugh, and I knew that when he asked me to sign on, I could write a joke. Whether I knew I could deliver it or not was a whole different thing. And it turned out that I could, but I haven't done that sort of thing in years. Let me ask you this. Who else is on the lineup?
Okay, so we have a couple of people that are lesser known. And again, I just did a lot of research, did a lot of homework. And look, my criteria was pretty simple. They got to be local. I can't fly somebody in from Antarctica or like Hawaii or whatever. They got to be in the area. They got to be conservative, or at least right-leaning, more or less. They don't have to be hardcore, but just, being able to at least get away from the political correctness that strangled our country for the last decade or so. I was looking for people that weren't profane, that weren't just too out there. So I came up with a couple of guys. Brian Patriotic was a guy that has toured a lot of comedy clubs in this area. My sister kept telling me about him. She goes, "This guy's like the funniest person I've ever seen."
Really?
And I'm like, okay. So I pulled up some videos, and he's crazy. And I think he's actually, you've probably met some of these people. They're funny, but they're actually really crazy too. In real life. And he's one of those types. He's like crazy, and he's kind of one of these people you put on a stage and you're not going to know exactly what you're going to get, which is part of the fun, I think. But he's a crazy dude, and I've like, just for my own peace of mind, I'm like, okay, dude, give me an idea where you want to go with this, and he sort of gave me kind of a rundown of what he wants to do, and I'm like, okay, I think that's going to work. So,
this is exciting. I like this.
Yeah. And I also, wanted to figure, okay, how many people should you have on? Do you have 10? Do you have 5? And I kind of settled on, one headliner, obviously, which is Adam, and then 2 other comedians that'll do like 2. They'll each do a 15-minute set. Joel Brill is the other guy. He was referred to me by a friend who actually, interestingly enough, he is a comedian and more left-leaning than right-leaning. And we had conversations, and I said, look, I'm looking for a conservative comedian. I know that's not your thing, but who do you have that you think is good? And he said, well, check out Joel Brill. And I pulled up some videos. How do you know? You pull up videos on people. I'm like, okay, this guy will work. But then you get into asking people, hey, would you be willing to perform, as a conservative in front of a conservative audience? And it does freak a lot of people out and scare them away. So that's the last thing, is they have to be willing to do it.
Wow.
And that becomes sometimes a challenge as well. Anyway, so we got a good solid lineup, and really my goal is to put together a kind of a pool, if you will, of these people that we can kind of draw from. And I think the first event, this is just to give us some credibility, to kind of, give it some professionalism, show that yes, we can do it. Yes, we can actually.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Hope and change. Yeah. So let me ask you, it's a dinner show as well. How do they get tickets?
Yes. So it's MakeAmericaLaughAgainEvent.com is where you can get tickets. MakeAmericaLaughAgainEvent.com. You go on there and you can either get I think we have just a handful of seats left, to be honest. Last time we checked, it was less than 20. So I'm pretty sure we're going to sell out in the next couple of days. But yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm really excited about it.
And when is it? It's next weekend, July the 6th, right?
So yes, July the 6th, right after the 4th of July. We thought, that's kind of cool.
That's a great time. That's a great time. And it's in Rancho Cucamonga, which is in California.
Yep. It's at the Sycamore Inn in Rancho Cucamonga. It's a restaurant that's been around over 100 years. My wife and I went there and saw a murder mystery. So they have a cool kind of underground room where we're going to be doing this.
Good.
So we reached an agreement with the restaurant and said, hey, look, we want to do a conservative comedy show. And they're like, cool. And then we're like, hey, if we sell this thing out, can we do another one? And they're like, yeah. We sold the first one out in 2 or 3 weeks.
Holy cow.
And yeah, it was pretty cool. So I'm thinking, okay, let's do another one. I figured we've got all these people together. why not have one more show? So that's what we're
That's
going
so
to do.
cool. Scott, thank you for coming back on and updating us, because you were on when I was like sitting on my couch in my jammies and trying to just like introduce people to my friends. And I get encouraged by hearing stories like this. And I've been writing jokes for the past like 2 years. I just haven't tried any of them out. I was hoping that I would try a few out and maybe I could be a part of this, but maybe part of the second one.
Well, we're planning. We're already getting inertia going for number 2. We're looking at Orange County. I think our goal is to stick one of these in every county throughout Southern California. Do one in San Diego. Do one in LA. Do one maybe with some stuff further north. Who knows? But we're looking at Orange County next. September 14th is kind of our date that we've stuck in there.
Oh,
so
nice.
that gives you plenty of time to go out and practice some of your material. And also, I would suggest going to clubs that aren't necessarily friendly to conservatives.
Right.
I mean, I think that truly takes a lot of courage if you can do it.
Yeah.
So that's what I
Very
would.
good. Very good.
Maybe we can drag you out there for the next one.
Very good. Thank you, Scott. Thank you for coming on. I'm going to sign out. I'm just hoping all the sound is cool. I've enjoyed this interview. I hope they did too. I was telling them that I have a really crappy computer. It's not designed to do what I'm doing, but we're going to upgrade all that and we're going to move to the next step. So thank you, and I'll talk to you soon, probably after the show, to see how you did.
All right. Sounds good. You have a good night.
You too. Bye.
See you, bye.
All right, E. Okay, so that is it for tonight. What time is it? Wow, I still went almost an hour. So I hope you enjoyed that interview with Scott. I'm going to sign out. Again, I wanted to remind you of going on patreon.com, being a member, throwing me some cash so I can get a whole new studio. So I ain't trying to worry about if this video is showing, if that sound's showing, if I sound shrill. I really don't want to sound like a liberal woman. So yeah, I'm believing this new studio is going to happen. Also, by the time the new studio happens, I'm going to be in a new channel, so it'll be my Sonia Schmidt Show channel page on Facebook, and that's where I'll be airing everything. Please go on that page. Please like it so you can get notifications for when the show is going to be on. Remember, like I say, America is no longer a spectator sport. Got to get in there, got to help, you got to put your hand in, you got to... And I will air both of those videos, the patriotic singles and the other thing that I couldn't post that's about Black holidays, so to speak, because I want that to be out before July the 4th. And thank you for sharing. Thank you for hosting watch parties. Thank you for being a part of the credits, and I will see you next week. Adios.